going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do a video, MMA Corner number 5. I'm going to run over two topics that were sent to me, one from Willmillion15 and the other from KF79. The topic from Willmillion15 was for me to compare the difference between Dream and Pride, and what are the similarities and what are the differences. Really, Dream has done an excellent job, and so has Sengoku as of late, with putting on some great cards, great production value. When you watch a Dream event, I don't know if you get the vibe, but when you watch it, you feel like you're watching a Pride event. You feel the same electricity, the same that same feeling, and I don't know how to explain it. It's where you're watching a fight, and it's just the atmosphere of the Japanese crowd. You hear them when there's an armbar, there's a Kimura, and it's just something you don't see with the UFC. You just get that different vibe, that different feeling, and you get to see guys like Jagar Musasi fight, Shinya Aoki, Jacare, I'm sorry. You really get that sense that you're watching a Pride event again, and it's kind of nostalgic. You really just don't you don't realize that Pride is no more. I mean, that's how I feel when I watch a Dream event, and then it kicks in when I go over and I look at my DVDs. It's like, oh man, I'm watching Dream, I'm not watching Pride. But you get that feeling. I mean, there's really that similarity there, that it's just like a Pride event. What is the difference between it is you've got different management, and it seems that they're doing a really good job. The Japanese fan base really has clinged on to Dream and clinged on to Sengoku, because when Pride left, the Japanese people, as far as MMA is concerned, and the mainstream MMA that they had through Pride, was no more, and they were just looking for something to cling on to. And when Dream came around, and then of course you have the Sengoku events, the Japanese fan base was like, yeah, it looks like Pride all over again. I mean, and they love it because that's the feeling that they get too, is when they watch this event, they get that same feeling. I mean, it's hard to explain. And if you followed Pride for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. It's that feeling of wow, of the intensity, and you can feel the crowd when you watch one of those events, because they are just as into it as the fighters are. And that's really what separates a lot of the organizations over here in the States compared to over in Japan. You feel the crowd, and you feel how much they love what's going on inside of that ring as much as the fighters do, and that's something that's really important. KF79 wanted me to talk about women's MMA, and is it valid for women to fight? And of course the UFC has put out several statements about, well, they wouldn't allow women's fighting to happen because of the bad the shadow it would cast on women and other stuff. And I don't agree with that, because we've seen just recently with Tara La Rosa getting signed with the AFL, just a huge contract that she got, and that's really going to open the door for. And I'm a big promoter of all sports. I love football. I played hockey. Tara La Rosa and a lot of the women have set the bar for women's sports in general, not just MMA. I mean, when you get Tara La Rosa getting a contract that she just got that was worth like $500,000, that's going to really set the bar for other women, that once they get higher into whatever sport they may be in, or even in MMA, going to be like, hey, look what she's getting paid, and look at where I'm at. That really sets the bar for women, and I really don't. Personally, I don't have anything against women competing in any sports. I mean, that would be sexist, and women have just as much rights to fight in mixed martial arts as men do. And for the UFC to come out and say that it would cast a bad shadow on the sport and on women, that's not true. If the women are willing to get in there and they put their bodies on the line, I respect that. And if they're willing to step in there and do that, more power to them. And there's no reason that me or you or anyone else should tell anybody otherwise, because that's their choice. They want to get in there, and if they believe that they can compete at that level, they've trained, their body's in the right type of condition, in the right type of form, and the doctors have cleared them. Why not? I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. But women's MMA is really taking off as of late, and the Tara LaRosa deal is really even gonna push that further, because now women that have been involved, maybe just grappling and other stuff, might be like, hey, I want to try doing some an MMA class where I roll, and maybe try to get into actually getting into some amateur fights and work my way up. That may push the bar, and I think it really will. And I think that we've really seen an increase here as of late with women's MMA. And it started with, and a lot of people don't like Gina Carano, but she has become a huge face for women's MMA. And that fight that she had just recently on Elite XC was a huge push and pull for women's MMA, because mainstream audiences got to go, wow, they were just as exciting as the men were. And that's the type of impact that it's having, is more and more people are starting to be more accepting of women's MMA, and they should be, because if they're willing to get in there, like I said, then why not? Why not? I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be in there. They're just as skilled as the men are. They're very, very talented, and it shows in the fights. So leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. Let me know what you think. Some ideas for my next MMA Corner video. Thank you again to Willmillion15 and KF79 for their topics. And on that note, you guys have a great day.